Trying to talk about the history of asbestos without mentioning Johns Manville would be like trying to talk about the history of the automobile without mentioning Henry Ford and the Ford Motor Company. It would be incomplete at best. So let's look at Johns Manville and Henry Johns. This is a picture of Henry Ward Johns and Charles Manville, who are the founders of Johns Manville. And Henry Ward Johns here, and he's 45 years old in 1882. He died less than 10 years later. And Johns Manville was the heavyweight of the asbestos industry as soon as it was founded. I'm told their fibers found their way into 80% of all products with asbestos. They operated that huge Jeffrey mine in Quebec that you saw. They had mines all over the world, and they made tons of different asbestos products. This book, Outrageous Misconduct, which I cannot recommend highly enough. The book has long been out of print, but you can probably find a used copy for $20 or $30. And if you want to know the story of how asbestos happened, the cover-up and all of that, this is the first book you should read. It was the first book I read about the asbestos industry, and I became fascinated with it. So here's what they say happened with Mr. Johns. Inspired by an encyclopedia article on asbestos, Johns had begun to experiment with the heat-resisting property of the mineral in 1858 when he was 21. He subsequently invented a new roofing material by running burlap, jute, asbestos, and pitch through a clothes wringer, and he set up shop in Manhattan to start selling asbestos products. It's absolutely one of the old-time American success stories. A young man learned something, experimented, started a business, and became a big company. But there's more in Outrageous Misconduct, that book, to talk about. When he died in Yonkers in 1898, his death certificate listed the cause as dust phthisis pneumonitis, a diagnosis that was probably a medical euphemism for asbestosis. Perhaps in a bit of cosmic irony, Mr. Johns, who made his entire fortune and made his name on the basis of selling fireproof materials, those not only killed him, he also chose to be cremated, which I thought would be rather ironic for a man whose entire life was dedicated to pushing fireproofing.